In Washington, federal contractors are allowed to make donations to the legislators who oversee the committees that issue the contracts. That seems like legal bribery to me. And I'd like to know what you would do as president to end that system.
Well, this is back to campaign finance reform, and we have pay-to-play restrictions in New Jersey. That's what they're called, right? That if you have contracts, you can't make donations. Of course, in New Jersey, as in most places that have pay-to-play restrictions, they apply to the governor, but they don't apply to the legislature. Why? Because the legislature is the ones who make the laws. So, in New Jersey, if you have a state contract, you can donate as much as you want up to the legal limit to members of the state legislature, but you can't donate to the governor. Listen, I just think that this entire campaign finance exercise is a farce. You see this campaign for president right now. With all the different rules that are made, and I want to admit this to you as a recovering lawyer, right? We know that lawyers are the folks who write up these laws. Then after they write up the laws, the lawyers get hired to instruct people how to get around the laws that they just wrote. And so all you need to do is look at the campaign finance system now for president. Now the law says that I can only accept a maximum donation of $2,700 from any person in the United States who's a citizen eligible to vote, and that I cannot accept any money that's any greater than that. And that I can't accept any corporate money, that it all must be from a personal account. Okay? You may like or not like that system, that's what the rule is. You're running a campaign to communicate to 330 million people across the country at $2,700 a person. But what else does the law allow? Well, the law allows for these things called super PACs. Now the super PACs can take money from anybody in any amount, but the rule is they can't coordinate with the campaign. So we now have each of the candidates that have super PACs that were put together by friends of theirs to support them. So you all have seen in New Hampshire being inundated already with TV ads from all these different groups. None of them, I suspect, are from the campaigns. And as you say, hang on to the end of the commercial, will say, this commercial is brought to you by Right to Rise. Right? That's Jeff's thing, right? Right to Rise. The one that supports me is called America Leads. The one that supported at Walker was called Unintimidated, right? And you'll see all these things at the end of it. Here's the way it works. We can't raise money for those groups. We can't solicit money for those groups. We can't tell those groups what ads to run, or when to run them, or what they say, or anything else. So if you see one of those ads that comes from a group that supports me and you don't like it, and you come to Lee's Town Hall meeting and say, hey, Governor, by the way, I saw that ad of yours, I don't like it. I said, well, first of all, it's not my ad, it's this group's ad. And second, I can't say anything about it because I don't like it either, but if I say that out loud, that's coordination with the group, telling them what I want them to do or not do, and that's against the law. We tie ourselves into pretzels over this stuff. And so now you're suggesting, as many have, if you have a contract with the government, you shouldn't be able to donate to a government official. So what happens then? They don't donate to the government official, they donate to one of these outside groups. And they get around it that way. I think we need to end the charade, everybody. There's always going to be money in politics, so this is my suggestion. I'll let you follow up before. My suggestion is this: let's stop pretending. Let anybody or any entity write any check to a candidate in any amount they want. And in return, that candidate has to reveal that donation within 24 hours on the internet. So you can go on the internet and you can find out every person who gave me a nickel or more, and when they gave it to me, which is also very important, because if you hear me saying I'm for something, and then 2 weeks after I get $1 million check from somebody, I'm against it, that tells you about everything you need to know. And that's what you're really trying to get at. What you're trying to get at, I think, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're trying to get at is, how do we get the corruption out of this system? The only way to do it is to shine light on it. Because there's always going to be money in politics, and the more we try to divert it other ways, it's like water. It always finds its way in through a crack. And so what I say is, what we really want to know is, am I bought? That's what you want to know. Who do I work for? Do I work for the people who gave me the money, or do I work for everybody? And the only way for you to judge that is to see who I get the money from and how I react to the receipt of that money.
I agree with what you said, and certain transparency would go a long way. But by not being able to, if those legislators make a decision, let's say on a piece of military hardware that nobody wants, then it becomes a fiscal issue, right? I mean, we end up with bridges that don't go anywhere and you know, military jets that nobody wants because of that system. So, you know, the transparency is great, but if we're going to continue to get things that nobody wants and we're all paying for as taxpayers, you know, we've got to, it seems like we got to fix that.
Well, listen, I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with how you say you want to fix it. Because they're not going to give to the candidates. Okay, so they're going to give to the National Republican Senatorial Committee, or they're going to give to the National Republican Congressional Committee, or they're going to give to some independent group that's going to run ads in support of that member of Congress. Do you think that member of Congress isn't going to know that that money came from the very group you're talking about? Well, you can't give it to me, but you might want to go talk to my friend over here who's running an organization that I think you'll find very useful. And then all of a sudden they write a check to this guy's organization and he runs ads to help me. I'm saying let's stop the charade. Stop the charade, because every one of these laws, they find a way around it because they get clever lawyers who wrote the laws to find ways around it. That's what they get paid for. So let's just stop that. So that if you see that a member of Congress gets $1 million check from Lockheed Martin, and then you read that that member of Congress voted for every project that Lockheed Martin had in front of his Defense Appropriations Committee, then you know what you will conclude. And your vote should be guided accordingly, coverage from the press should be guided accordingly, and that person's career, if we're doing our democracy the right way, should be on life support. What you have to learn as a political candidate is to become a professional ingrate. Okay? It's hard to do, but you got to do it. And what I mean by that is that if you write me a check, here's what you get. You get the best of me. Whatever that is. It doesn't mean I'm going to vote for your issue. Okay? It doesn't mean that I'm going to change my issue or twist myself because you wrote me a check and now you want me to vote a certain way. If that's why you're writing me a check, don't write it. And people who make donations say, well, wait, you opposed me on this. Well, because I disagree with you. Well, heck, I wrote you this check. Well, I thought you wrote me the check because you thought I was the best person. If you now no longer think I'm the best person, write a check to the other guy. Okay? But that's what we have to do. We have to become professional ingrates in this business. And putting light and transparency, I think, is the best way. Because every other way we've tried, hasn't worked. So let's stop pretending. Let's be adults about it. Let's just say, okay, we know money's going to be in here. Let me know what you're doing, exactly when you get the money within 24 hours, and then let me judge what you're saying publicly and how you're voting. And if you wind up selling yourself to the highest bidder, then we're going to kick you out. I think that's the way you have to approach it. It's not perfect, by the way. I'm not saying my approach is perfect, but there is no perfect solution to this problem.
Thank you, Governor.
Yes, sir.